So you're thinking about moving to Pensacola, Florida. In this video, I will give you the pros and cons of living in downtown Pensacola, and stay tuned to the end where I will give you an overhead and walking tour of the entire area. If you're new to the channel and want to hear all about Pensacola, Florida living, just hit that subscribe and tap that notification button so you'll be the first to know about updates in the Pensacola market. So let's jump right into the video, and in this video I'm going to give you again the 8 pros and 8 cons of living in the downtown area. And by the downtown area I mean kind of really the areas within really 1 to 2 miles of downtown, and those zip codes would be 32501 and 32502 primarily. So con number 1 is the pricing and the major pricing of living. And so the average new home in the area, really just starts at 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,600 square feet. New home is going to start at about 500,000 and up, and you can easily get to 700,000. And that's also the case with homes that aren't very old. So there are very few homes that are priced under 500,000, and then again you can easily get 2 homes well over $1 million that are not huge mansions. And along those lines, we also have the pricing of rent, which rent has certainly been going on and up in the last few years. So the average 2-bedroom home in downtown area, small 2-bedroom home, would be about $2,700 in rent, and the average 1-bedroom apartment would be about $1,500 in downtown Pensacola. Con number 2 is the parking situation, and there's really a couple parts with this. So when it talks about parking, obviously having a home, you're going to have, whether you're buying or renting, you're going to have limited parking spots and limited parking options. A lot of times living, you're going to have to park on the streets downtown. The second part of that is a lot of the area downtown in the prime areas along Palafox Street, those are majority of the time paid parking, so it is difficult in the city, sometimes certainly in the evenings to find parking close to where you want to go. And then the final portion of that is just in the last, I guess, year or two, we've been doing these electric scooters and bikes and bike sharing and all these things. And the problem with these is a lot of people, or enough bad people, are just leaving them and laying in the middle of the road. There's been cases where they're throwing them over the pier in the water, and so this has kind of caused a bad taste. So con number 3 is homelessness. So certainly driving around downtown, you're going to see your share of homelessness, just like you probably would in many other cities, but it certainly seems like it has grown in the last few years, and there really hasn't been a good solution for homelessness, because there were certain parts of the interstate that were homeless camps, and then there's certain parts of town where they have a lot of missions and support for the homeless, but there's not really hasn't been any good options, it seems like, when it comes to dealing with the problems of homelessness and severe poverty within Pensacola City. So living in downtown, certainly you're going to be driving around, people asking for money. You're going to see people sleeping on the side of the road, holding signs. So con number 5 is flooding. Being that we are a port city and right on the water, that's maybe not a big surprise, but being that the downtown area was built really a long time ago and developed, it is very low, and it seems like certainly from downtown as you get a little bit west of downtown, just like 1 to 2 miles along those main drags there, like Garden Street and things like that, there certainly seems to be a lot of flooding when it comes to heavy rain in the streets and driving through water. So just in heavy rains, and I'm not talking about major hurricanes or major tropical storms, I'm talking about just a period of heavy rains for whatever reason, based on the drains in the city and the sewer and the infrastructure. Certainly you're going to deal with flooding in a lot of areas and little neighborhoods. Con number 6 is the schools, and by schools I primarily am talking about the public schools. Living within the city and living within downtown, you certainly do not have highly rated public schools, and that's really the case for most of Pensacola and Escambia County. Certainly there's some exception to that of high rated schools within the areas, but living downtown, most people are going to be in Global Learning Academy for pre-K through 5th grade, For middle school, that's J.H. Workman Middle School for the majority of people, which has very low ratings, and then Pensacola High School, obviously grades 9 through 12, which is not a highly rated high school in the area. So living in downtown certainly is something to think about when it comes to schools. Now there are options for private school and and things like that, and online learning, but certainly if having schools is a primary factor for you, having good top-rated schools, certainly downtown is probably not going to be the best option. Con number 7 is poverty and crime. So certainly in parts of downtown Pensacola, there are certainly a lot of older and run-down homes, and certainly along those lines of living in the city versus other parts of the Pensacola area, you're going to deal with higher levels of just crime in general. So con number 8 is affordability overall and cost of living. So I already talked about in con number 1 a little bit more about the average price of homes, so that makes up the majority of your cost. But certainly being that's the majority of it, surrounding areas within Escambia County and outside of the city of Pensacola, and then other Santa Rosa County and other areas like Gulf Breeze, Milton, Navarre, Beulah, Cantonment, those areas are much more affordable when it comes to total cost of living based on housing. All right, let's jump into the 8 pros, and pro number 1 would be events. Downtown certainly has a lot of events compared to the most part of the area, and some of those signature events and highlights would be once a month, I believe it's on Fridays, is Gallery Night, which would be downtown. Some of those others would be the Christmas parade, the Mardi Gras parades, all those things. There's quite a few 5Ks that happen in the downtown area throughout the year, and then there's also a cool weekly 5K held at the World of Beer, and there's quite a few festivals and food events. And then you also have weekly markets like the Palafox Market on Saturday mornings. So pro number 2 is the nightlife, and you can't mention Pensacola's nightlife downtown without mentioning Seville Quarter, which is a series of a bunch of fun rooms and different bars and different themed rooms. Along those lines also we have several other bars, breweries, and pubs, and that's something that certainly has grown as the city of downtown has grown. And there's also cool kind of outdoor spots and wineries and things like that. So being in downtown, having the nightlife and kind of the social kind of stuff to do, that's certainly a big bonus of living downtown. Number 3 is food and dining. So certainly the downtown area has a lot of options when it comes to restaurants, dining, cafes, and all those things. Certainly one of the most popular ones is McGuire's in the downtown area. You also have Global Grill, and there's also a lot of good waterfront options between dinner and brunch to take in the sights and sunset. Some of my favorites would be Jocko's, Palafox Pier, and then also Nick's Boathouse, which is a great brunch spot. And then along those lines also, we're talking about food, you have to mention Pattis Seafood Market, which is an awesome place to get tons and tons of fresh seafood, and certainly that's a big bonus if you live downtown, being very close to that. So pro number 4 is parks and recreation. There's quite a few parks in the downtown area. Certainly right in the center of downtown we have the historic Seville Square. Over by the waterfront we have the Veterans Memorial Park, and then there's also Palafox Pier, and a great place to kind of check in the sights and check in sunset, and also have options for fishing and things like that. So downtown Pensacola has quite a few other smaller options when it comes to little parks, playgrounds, and options for recreation. Pro number 5 is entertainment, and in case you didn't know, the whole Pensacola area between the 2 counties of Escambia and Santa Rosa County, only about 500,000. So for not being a huge market and a huge city, downtown Pensacola in itself has quite a bit of entertainment, and certainly you got to start off here with the Wahoo's Baseball, which is a minor league baseball team that has a beautiful waterfront stadium there that also has quite a few events that happen there beyond baseball. You have the Pensacola Bay Center, which is downtown. It has professional hockey, And then in the winter, open ice skating, certainly has a lot of events and big concerts there. And you also have the Sanger Theater, which is great for live shows, smaller concerts, comedians, and dramatic plays. So pro number 6 is walkability and bikeability, if that's even a word. But so I think you know what I mean. But the friendliness of pedestrian walking and be able to walk everywhere or a lot of places, and living downtown, certainly, not having to deal with parking and be able to park and walk somewhere, is really a cool benefit of living downtown. Also say downtown Pensacola is fairly bike friendly, and it has become even more bike friendly when it has the brand new pedestrian and cycling that covers the 3-mile bridge that goes from downtown Pensacola over to Gulf Breeze, and eventually you can get all the way out to Pensacola Beach. Pro number 7 is historical legacy and character. So Pensacola is known as this city of 5 flags, and those 5 flags in order would be Spain, France, England, and the Confederacy, and then finally the United States. So when it comes to preserving the historical legacy, there are the Pensacola Historic Village, which you can kind of still see downtown, and a lot of named and plaques and road marks and things like that when it comes to preserving and honoring the history and legacy of Pensacola. And then finally, pro number 8 is the beach access. So from downtown Pensacola to get out to Pensacola Beach, you're just about 10 minutes without traffic, just driving across the 3-mile bridge, and then through Gulf Breeze, and then the 1-mile bridge out on Pensacola Beach. And then from downtown Pensacola to get over to the Perdido Key, Perdido Beach area, that's just about 20 minutes. Alrighty, that's a wrap on the pros and cons of living in downtown Pensacola. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do me a favor, hit that like button just below. And if you want to hear more from me, just hit that subscribe and notification button so you don't miss any new videos. Also, feel free to reach out however it's best for you. Call, email, text. Whether you're moving in 7 or 70 days, it would be my pleasure to assist you. Thanks for tuning in, and take care.